Call the Board of Works meeting to order. Phyllis, could we have roll call, please?
Craig Koshaw.
Here.
Joel Carbach.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here. You emailed a copy of the minutes from our October 2nd meeting. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from October 2nd. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Kevin, I'm not sure who wants to do this. The results of the contractor selection process for the water plant. Bill, you need to join him up here or anything?
No, he got elected.
You don't want to run flank for him up here? Come on. Here he comes.
Shortest straw. Okay. So we're doing the guaranteed savings
Is that mic on?
contract.
The water plant?
There you go.
We're doing the guaranteed savings contract route for the water plant. So a little background, we put out requests for qualifications. A couple months ago, we got 4 responses from Coasting, Bowen, Thieneman, and Wilhelm. They all turned in proposals. Myself, Bill, Jeremy, and Don all reviewed all 4. We kind of narrowed it to between Coasting and Bowen as the 2 we really targeted. We brought both of them in for interviews. Basically a coin flip between the 2. They're both very qualified, all 4 are. But we want to give the recommendation to go with Bowen for the water plant project.
Did you do any research on them, Kevin?
Yeah, I talked to a few different communities that used both Bowen and Kokosing in the past. I was hoping for a smoking gun on one of them, but nobody could really give me a bad thing to say about either of them.
Midwestern didn't have any preferred?
They didn't have a lot of experience with Bowen. I think Mark did previously when he was with Commonwealth, but not with Midwestern, so he didn't have anything bad to say about him, but he didn't have anything to really say about him at all. He'd worked with Kokosing in the past. But with Bowen, we noticed there was a lot more water projects. There was a few, the communities I did talk to said they've always used Bowen. They really like Bowen. They let Kokosing take some of the smaller work, so like I said, it was a coin flip.
Now we got Kokosing doing the waste treatment plant project, so
Yep. I
we're
think
spreading it around a little bit this way.
I think part of it was Bowen did more water plant projects. That was a little bit of it. I think they had a little more experience in what we were doing.
And with the new technology, the fluidized bed reactors in the water plant, Bowen has more experience. Coasting hasn't done one of those plants, which I'm sure they could, but we all scored all 4 of them, and all 4 of us came back.
Who did the scoring?
Me, Bill, Don, and Jeremy.
Okay.
And we tallied them up, and Bowen won. All 4 of them were actually tied 1 with Coasting, but they were ahead in all 4 of them.
So you just want the Board of Works to okay this?
Yep, to give the okay, and then we can relay that to Mark, and we can hit the ground running. Design for the water plant's about 50% right now, so the contractor can come in and do some...
Speaking of the design, what about the chlorides and that, all that whole big...
This is a whole new design.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of the chlorides out of the process. That's why we're going the extra step. The fluidized bed reactors do not use salt, but we are still using a little bit of salt as a final softening process.
Is this process going to be that one you were telling me about where we may have to have manpower out there 24 hours a day?
Possibility. We're going to go look at another water plant next week, hopefully, and talk.
How big is that community?
He says pretty close to what we have.
There's a couple different ones he's going to look at. He's going to go check them out first and then let us know.
Okay.
I don't think we really have...
Much choice.
Yeah, we don't have any choice.
Is this gonna add a lot to the cost?
We'll figure that out once the contractor gets brought in. It will add some to it. Mark seems to think that they left enough fat in the contingency to cover it.
You familiar with this, Craig? Or what they're chloride issue? Are you,
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't spend $8-9 million and not deal with the chloride issue. I mean, it just has to be done.
Exactly. I mean, it's either now or it'll be mandated from Indiana Environmental.
Oh, yeah. We're already on about the third year of a 5-year plan to get rid of the chloride.
Right.
So it's
I just
crunch
can't
time.
believe that their first plan
And
that they
that's
gave us
unusual that
included
Ann's
that.
going out of
Yeah, they didn't have-
office when all this chloride's
They didn't
being
they
discussed,
didn't know how
huh?
much salt we used. They actually went through a year once they got those numbers.
Okay, well,
The only other option is to not soften, and that's really not an option because
Yep.
everybody will have a softener.
Exactly,
at home.
and then your problem just
We have-
compounds,
We have no control.
right? Yep, agreed.
if you two are okay with it, I would like a motion, I guess, to make it official.
I certainly am. Second.
I have a motion and a second to go with Bowen as the choice for the contractor for the waste treatment plant. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Kevin, while you're up here, might as well talk about one of our favorite things.
Like you're right all the time again.
It's Koshaw's favorite thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've been through it.
Yeah, but just look where we've come since
Yep.
the last time we did this. We'll have this in this length again for, what, 3 or 4 more years?
4 more years, yeah.
But with the new ordinance that we just passed here recently,
Hopefully that number...
this list will be reduced
Yes.
significantly.
Koshaw. Oh, no, that's Cal.
Yeah, last year, I believe it was over 25,000. This year it's down to 21, I believe.
That's better.
Better. That's similar to what it was 2 years ago in the 20 to 21 range. So it's still quite a bit of money, but like you said, with the new ordinance, hopefully that cuts that way down in the years to come.
And are we still trying to gather money from these people?
Yeah, those have all been sent to collections.
Yeah,
And so
okay.
we write them off, but if they want to get serviced again in Decatur, then they still need to pay that. They pay that plus the collection fee.
Okay.
And as far as the new ordinance, I sent out 389 letters to the landlords that we had on file.
How many?
389.
389.
That was a expanded list. That's from our old software, so not all that was correct. I've got responses from 166. So I'm going back through the list again and going through and seeing a lot of those that were in there we have Bill Jones as the tenant and GIS says Shirley Jones as the owner. And we don't know if that's husband, wife, daughter, son. So I'm going back through those and trying to figure that out so we can get them off the list. And
Well, I'm looking at page 3 here, about 3/4 of the way down, Hoosier Group, 347987. Is that an apartment complex?
that was before Cottonwood was in there. That was the group that owned the trailer park before.
Well, that goes way.
Biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not in business any longer, I take it?
So what do you want us to do?
Well, I don't think we have a whole lot of choice other than to go ahead and agree to write them off, as in the past. And
Then you're going to continue to try to collect?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we
Okay.
do. Yep. They're flagged every time they would ever try to get service again. They would be.
back to the landlords, you say you got replies, you got signed papers from 100 and...
No, I had responses from 166. So I have actual signed forms from probably 130. And then
So
about
that-
25 people called and say, hey, we sold this house at the beginning of the year. You know, I sold my rentals. We check it with the GIS again and realized since we went through the GIS a year ago, it hasn't been sold. So
Okay.
we've had those, and then we've gotten about 20 letters back with bad addresses. So yeah,
Okay.
so we've actually got responses from 130.
Are there any known landlords that we've known about over the years that have not replied?
A few. The major ones we've heard from all of them. All the big boys anyways,
We've heard from.
yeah.
So if there's anybody you need help, if you want me to call anybody, let me know. Be glad
That's
to.
what I'm doing now, is going through the list, and the ones I know for sure, I'm trying to get a list, you know, if they have 3, 4, 12 rentals, trying to get our information and start calling and emailing and letters,
Okay.
just to get them. I'd rather have it done than try to change it out, put it in the tenant's name, and then a month from now, change it all back to the owner's name. But if that's what it takes to get them to do it, then we'll do that.
Any more discussion on the write-offs?
Nope.
Need a motion to write off the accounts as presented by Kevin then.
Motion to write off the accounts as presented by Kevin, because it really hurts my feelings, but we'll do
I
that.
know, and reluctantly. As reluctantly in front of that bar. Bill?
I'll second that.
Reluctantly?
Reluctant.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Sign these.
Well, you just need one of them signed or all of them?
One sign.
Just one. So,
I can
Kevin,
get it from here.
did you find out any more about what was on the front page of last night's paper about Becky Cochran taking over the billings for the county?
Not directly. I tried to call Barry, he never returned my call through people. Apparently he didn't realize that was going to be in the paper, and he didn't think that Becky was taking over all of it, just a portion of it. So I still don't know what that means. So. And that's what, Tim, I was going to get a hold of you too about that contract, I think.
You want this or Phyllis?
I'll take a copy of it.
Under the,
With the contract that we had with the sewer district.
You want a copy too?
Additional service.
Okay, Kevin, you keep that one. We'll sign another one up here and pass it around
At
for,
the end of the contract,
we'll give that one to Phyllis.
the additional services maybe discontinued at any time without penalty.
Part that you want.
But it also references the new contract. The first paragraph that says 36 months notice should be given to, I can talk to you.
yeah, I think the billing aspect, they can terminate any time. If
That's the way I read
the service agreement that provides waste treatment can't be done unless we give them at least 3 years' notice. Right.
Okay.
All right. But Kevin, back to the county, whatever they take over for us, it really doesn't affect us, other than the fact that we were being paid that, what, $3 a piece or something for doing that.
35 a piece, yeah, so
But the good news is it does free up our
frees up the
staff up front here a little
utility
bit.
clerks, so yeah, so they don't have to mess with it anymore. If that's the case that they take over, I believe it's supposed to be the first of the year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
But we did make $750 a month by doing that, which,
We did, but we probably had that much in labor too, labor costs.
yeah, that's a little unfortunate because we've got it all set up for them.
Yeah,
We find out through the paper that we terminated. So.
nice of the county to, I'll see the commissioners tomorrow.
Well, that's the Regional Sewer District Board.
Oh,
It's
it
not
wasn't
the
the-
commissioners.
The Regional Sewer District Board
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
that made that
We
decision.
heard about it a month ago originally from the paper.
Yeah, that they were looking at
Sure
it.
not to worry about it.
Yeah.
Find out about it later. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kevin.
What was the name of the
Next.
firm you got?
Go what?
The firm that you selected?
Bowen.
Bowen?
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you can read my notes right here if you need to.
Okay.
But it's only going to cost you a little bit.
About, Kurt.
I know. A beer afterwards.
That's cheap enough.
Okay. Here comes Jethro.
I'll leave it back here, Donnie keeps filling it back up.
You better make sure what he's calling
Everywhere he goes, he carries that. His new nickname's Jethro.
All right,
I would not trust Donnie.
is 1003 Schermeyer. Tim issued a letter about rubbish on October 3rd, and we gave them until today to clean everything up, and Bill went by there this morning, and they haven't done anything.
What was the address?
1003 Schermeyer.
Yeah, 1003 Schermeyer. This letter went out to Troy Hart at 7748 North Pickway. Went to Stephen Pruitt, who lives at 1003 Schermeyer, and it also went to John Hart, that lives at 621 Schermeyer. And as of today, nothing's been done.
And we have service,
Yes.
okay.
So what's the protocol?
Well, at this point, we should be able to go in and do the cleanup ourselves and assign any penalties and monies owed to the property against taxes. We can give them the penalty. They don't pay it in 30 days. And then if they don't pay everything in 30 days,
Is there any fine?
If you,
under 92.99, there is a penalty.
Which is?
It's anywhere not less than $50, not more than $500. Plus, if we go send somebody in to clean it up, then whatever time, labor.
Time and materials or
Time, materials, labor.
And there's one that kind of bothered me when Tim said if somebody's got something of value there, they've got a motor and a transmission that's hooked together, that's sitting out and back. That's of value. Now, if we sit there and take it off of their property, I'd like to get this remedied, but I'd get in their pocket. I'd fine them. I mean, it may cost us, but I think that'd be cleaner than just going in and taking things off of their property. They've got a skid load of shingles that's been there for over a year. I have no idea what they're going to do with them.
Roofing shingles that are still in the bundles, I mean, and everything?
Exactly.
We've got pictures if you want to look at it.
Yeah, there's...
Let's take a look.
well, I mean, the other thing you could do is if you do go in and remove the property, if you think that, for example, this motor or something, if you can park it somewhere and not dispose of it, if they want to come and claim it, we're not going to release it till they pay what they owe. But we could hold on to it if there's some value to it.
Do we have any phone contact with either of these three?
I have no documentation on any phone contact.
We requested equipment personal service by one of the police
By way of
officers.
letters on October 18th, 2016, June
Done.
12th,
Take it away.
2017, and June 29th, 2018. So this is the third letter, the third notice they've been given since 2016.
So this is like, they just don't believe we're really going to do anything, do they? We keep telling them we're going to, and we never do.
This is mixed in there.
Exactly.
New sheriff in town, Kurt Whitty, Jethro Whitty.
This is all around there.
Oh, God, where I get my...
But yeah,
This is all being recorded too.
I don't really want to keep going through all this stuff. I don't really want to continue down this path any farther. Let's clean it up.
That's what I would like to do.
Motion to clean it up.
Well, I think that since, what was the earliest, how many years have we went back? 2 years?
2016, 2017, and 2018.
For 3 years, we have issued them removal notices to abate. And we've ignored them after they ignored us. I'll second your motion. All in favor? Aye. Now, if we now, we're going to remove it.
Okay.
How do we document our charges? I mean, is it how many men we have there, how much they make an hour, is there machinery, is
It
it
would be the same thing that we did for Mr. Cost.
like $72 an hour?
The two trailers.
Yeah.
Everybody tracked their time, labor.
And then secondly, do we want to levy a fine, and who has the call on that?
The fine probably is something you'd have to go to court to establish.
So we could go pay $500 to charge them $500, so I guess we don't...
I just clean it up.
Okay,
Just clean it
so
up.
no fine?
No fine, clean it up.
They're past fine, you haven't paid it, right?
Yeah.
They don't care about fine.
Okay, we forgetting anything else on that? Forgetting anything, no?
What would you suggest, Tim, that we lien the property if they don't pay?
Yeah, I think there's a provision that we can eventually put a lien on the property and collect those back taxes.
Follow through?
The second property we have is for 1046 Vine Street. Tim issued a letter on October 3rd. According to Mr. Carvall, he has went by this today, and they have done quite a bit to clean up. If I'm not mistaken, they still have a pickup truck full of furniture.
Well, it's just junk, yeah.
Junk furniture. However, they have cleaned up the yard quite
Where's
a
Vine?
bit.
What's the address?
1046.
1046 Vine Street.
Kurt, did Tim on the Schermeyer, you told me that earlier that Tim did not send them a letter, but you found out that he did. Is that
That's right here.
correct?
That's October 3rd, 2018, Timothy Baker.
We sent both.
Okay, good.
And they were delivered by the police to these individuals, you said?
I misunderstood you, so yeah.
They're delivered 6/5.
So on this one here, what's the name on the Vine Street one? Person's name?
David Rash, David and Julia Rash.
Rash, R-A-S-H?
Yes.
So on the Rash property, they've made some progress,
No, they cleaned it up.
they've cleaned it all up.
Well, except for the pickup truck that's sitting there, that's got junk in it, okay?
Okay.
And Tim and I talked about that. I don't know if that constitutes junk, trash, and debris on your yard, in your yard, if it's in the truck.
I think what you do is you go talk to them and say, get it out of, dispose of it. You can't let that sit here.
You go thank them for what
Thank
they've
them for what they've
done.
done, but they need to get
We'll
that
leave that in your
disposed of.
special care, Bill.
Kind of like
All
what
right.
we did on 15th Street back there where they had that porch full of stuff. And we told them to clean it up, and they cleaned up a little bit. So then we went back and said, hey, you're doing a good job, but you got to keep going. And eventually they got it all cleaned up.
There was, at the Vine Street, there was even a rake there where they raked stuff up, so they've tried and they've done it, so.
I mean, the policy in the past of the city is that you try to work with people
Oh,
and get them to do it voluntarily as
granted.
opposed to
That's the best way to do it.
pursue enforcement action.
So you want to give them a pat on the back and tell them to continue?
Yes.
You're going to give them a 30-day grace?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Then the third residence I have, we issued a letter,
Address?
513 Marshall, Mr. David Hirely.
Yep.
Mr. Hirely actually lives in the house next to this residence. And he called in after he received the letter. And he explained that the house that we're discussing, him and his neighbor
On the other side of the house.
opposite side were to buy the property and they were going to demolish the house. Mr. Hirely, I guess, fronted the money on the sale and the neighbor kind of stuck him. So now he owns two pieces of property. And he said he has looked into having the house demolished. But he says there's no way he can afford it.
What was, you said he was quoted a figure. Do you remember?
Like He told me over the phone it was like $23,000 to have it demolished.
Recommendation? Recommendation?
Well, recommendation is for the city to help. He'd be willing to pay for the demolition. He just can't pay $22,000 to $23,000. And I know we've been able to do so $5,000 to $6,000 if the city does it. But it's kind of a double-edged sword here because our guys are pretty swamped right now.
Yeah, this is not in a floodplain, this is not part of a
Correct.
flood buyout. And yeah, I know Dave Hirely, and he talked to me before he ever bought this house and told me the plan that him and the neighbor on the other side of this house were tired of looking at. I mean, it's one of those blue tarp roof type properties, and
Yeah, we took the garage down probably 6 years ago.
you know, they were going to go together and buy it. I just didn't know that the other neighbor had
Now,
bowed out of the...
we could do like Huntington does and put it out for bid, but I think we're going to be back up into the $20,000 range to knock it down by the independent contractor.
Jeremy, how much you think independent contractor would run to take that down, dispose of it? Or Don, would you have an idea?
Probably 15.
How far until you can get caught up, you could help the man out if he could put it in escrow?
It won't be in this year.
2019?
To do that, we're going to have to rent a piece of equipment.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about
You're going to have a minimum
setting a precedent here. How about this, Jeremy? You've got contacts out there. Could you make some contacts on his behalf and see if you can get him a price much better than $22,000 to $23,000 from someone?
The other option we have...
I don't know that's going to be much less. Well, yeah, the other option you have is you condemn it.
Well, we could condemn it,
Yeah, and
which
then
pretty
you're-
much we are condemning it.
Yeah.
But the other option we could have is we could go in and board the house up and wait until we can get to it. That would be a last resort type deal.
I'm still just not crazy about setting precedent of...
Well, if you condemn it though, and he doesn't do it,
Yeah.
we're gonna do it anyway.
Exactly. I think that's the
But if we're going to start condemning properties
Yeah.
and order them to be demolished, I don't know if we want to, as a city, use our crews long-term.
No, I
As we
think
talked
it-
in Huntington, you know,
Yeah, they condemn it and bid it out.
Right.
And I think that's probably what we should do here. You're probably going to get stuck with the cost anyway. If he can't afford it, you're going to,
What I'd like to do is have Mr. Hirely come in and instead of just through hearsay, through me, third party, actually have him explain his situation.
I've known Dave since I was a little kid. He's as honest as the day is long. A super good guy. You know, I feel bad for him. I just hate setting a precedent of us just going in and helping people with our... Although I guess we kind of are already on Cottonwood, but that's a little different.
and we're doing it on garages. So I don't know what, I don't think you're going to have that many, Mr. Mayor. I think it'll be minimal at most, but, and I don't know how we want to handle it. If you,
Jeremy, your feelings?
Like I said, it won't be any more this year if you guys want it down, but you have to take into consideration it's going to be a minimum of $3,000 for a piece of equipment.
Just to rent it.
Recommendation, have Mr. Hirely come back to Board of Works in 1 month and explain the situation, give us a little bit of time to think about it, and not necessarily set a precedence, but if possible, ask him to escrow some cash, and then we take care of it sometime in 2019.
In the meantime, Jeremy, like I said, if you know anybody that could give him a price that might be under the 20,000 range at least.
I can look into it a little bit deeper, but
Is it dangerous?
what we have to
House?
finish up this year,
Yes.
we
We're gonna
can
leave it
start
up to
switching
these
gears
boarded
before
up.
too long.
Yeah.
Winter with some
What is it, 2-story?
other things.
I got no idea what this house looks like.
It's,
If you come down, if you're heading south on Fifth Street,
picture?
past
yeah.
the swimming pool and the tennis courts, and you come up to Marshall, but you can't turn left, okay? But just before that, you can turn right on Marshall. Yeah, it's not there's a house on the corner, then Dave Hirely's house, and the third house is this house we're talking about. Dave Hirely owns it. Well, he didn't own it. It was a blighted house, and him and the neighbor on the other side of this house agreed to go together and buy the house and take it down, and then subdivide that plot, okay? And they can build their own garages on it, whatever. But then the other neighbor backed out after Dave fronted the money to buy it, and then the other neighbor backed out. And Dave can't afford to go it alone.
Yeah, the history of it is about
Right.
6 years ago. They had a garage. It was one of the first garages we'd taken down, right, Jeremy? It was a mess. And we worked with the people that were there at that time to take the garage down, which we did. And then the house kept deteriorating, and they kept not putting any money in the house. And then the neighbor was trying to sell their property, and we got a call that asked if we could help because this house was in such dire shape and they weren't able to sell their property. So I went down there, and this whole thing started then, and in the meantime, the mayor told me that the people next door had purchased the house and ended up buying that property with the neighbor. And so I kind of let it go, and then I just driving by there one time, and I think the Harley's house is for sale.
Is it really?
And I thought, geez, if he's selling this house, when is he ever going to tear the other house down? So then I kind of opened the whole case back up, and that's how this whole thing
I
started.
didn't know that Hirely's house was for sale.
Well, the house on directly west is for sale.
Okay, that's not Hirely's. He's to the east.
Okay, I'm sorry, and
Excuse me? The corner, then two others.
so I guess the thing started once this one house is for sale. I thought, well, this thing's never going to fly, and the house in question continues to deteriorate.
Yep.
More holes in the roof,
Yep.
more, and the tarps have blown off because nobody's taking care of it. So yeah, that's how the.
Come on, Don.
We got pictures here, Don, if you want to take.
The guy that used to own the house was the truck driver. When we tore the
Right,
house down.
right. Him and his wife
Him and his wife
yep,
divorced.
Yep.
He gave the house to his wife and his daughter. He just stayed on the road. So there was really no maintenance on it. But if, you really can't see the back, but if you would look on,
It looks good from there.
it would be on this
I
side.
sent pictures.
Lord.
There's the blue tarp.
There's the blue tarp. That blue tarp's been on that roof for years, 6, 7, 8 years probably.
Donnie, can you scan these? Don,
Yeah, I asked him if I could go in and do a physical.
can you scan those and show
And
them?
he said I could knock myself out, but to be very careful where I step on the floor.
Yeah, if you go a little bit to the east and then look at that house, I think you'll see the tarp. That gray house.
Originally would have been really nice. Wow.
It's probably,
You can only do so much, right, Don?
see, this is, Yingles used to live here, that was the one that was for sale. Phil and Darlene Yingles was the one that was complaining about the house, or Mark Yingles, sorry. Phil's his dad.
Phil's the B guy.
You're still looking $7,000-8,000 if we do it, at least $8,000 probably.
Right.
By the time you rent a piece of equipment, and pay the disposal and the time and filling everything in.
And then if you go through the condemnation procedure like Huntington does, we can either go out for bid
Or do it ourselves.
or do it ourselves.
Right.
And
If it's above a certain dollar amount, you have to bid it.
above 10,000.
It's 10,000.
So it's not going to cost us over 10, so we can go in and do it. What I'm saying is, I don't think we're setting too much of a precedence because we're not going to have very many houses within the city structure. Huntington had over 100.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Decatur's not in that type of shape.
Is the house that bad? I mean, to me, in that photo,
It doesn't look, it is.
it doesn't look bad at all. You'd be better off repairing it.
If you look at
Yeah.
these pictures. Look at those pictures, Phyllis, I'm sorry, just...
You're not gonna repair this one.
Oh, it's a lot more
There you
than what
go.
it shows, then. That's nothing like a photo.
It is. Yeah, it's bad.
It's a lot different. That must have been an older photo.
This is a question for Bill and Kurt. How many do you think long-term you're gonna have?
Well, I know
Less than
three.
5?
I know
We-
three off the top of my head.
Huh? Yeah, right now...
I know which 3 they are.
I know three off.
Right now, there's 3.
What Jeremy's asking is, does it make sense to buy the equipment rather than continually rent it?
No.
I'm just asking, are we looking at this?
Are you gonna be
Short term
aggressive
or
enough?
At a large animal? or-
No.
We don't need to buy the equipment.
No,
We can-
it's...
No, wait a minute. Let's just talk about that a second. If we're gonna tear it down and we're gonna rent the equipment, I think we need to bring him in here and see if this is affordable to him for us to do this service. If not, we need to tear this thing down and own the property.
And and us own the property.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if the city really wants to be in the
Right.
property management business, but
Well,
the point is...
I'm sorry, at that point, it becomes valuable for the neighbors to buy.
Correct.
When it's sitting empty.
Point being
That's what
is...
Huntington does.
Point being is let's bring the man in and see what he can afford to do for us to pay. And then if we're going to have 5 or 6 of these down the road and we've got a piece of equipment that we need to rent every time and it's going to cost us, it's going to be a burden, we take a look at our longer-term goal to find out a longer-term financial availability to where it's buy or rent. It's just a math equation.
Right.
So, Craig, your suggestion was to have him come in a month from now, which would be November 20th would be our second meeting?
And the reason I say that, Ken, is because we can't get to it now anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm fine with that.
But I would like to have it boarded up.
Would he board it up?
I can talk with him about that.
You recommend that he boards it up, or we'll give him a month's time to get the windows and things so where it's not going to be a hazard to our
No one is
citizens.
living in
No.
No one's living.
No.
Is that outlined?
No, I think for safety purposes, it should be.
Public safety, he boards up his windows, we give him 30 days or whatever to come in and visit with us about it. We discuss the financial situation of it. If that we're going to take it down, we're going to need escrow just like we would anybody else. And then we make a decision if we want to rent the equipment or if we want to purchase the equipment. No matter how many of these you send up the ladder or send up the flagpole, Kurt.
Speaking of boarding them up, we still have the 2 on Schermeyer that need to be boarded up. I have kind of reached out a little bit into the community about, because I don't want to keep putting more work on our employees. They're already swamped. I've had 1 or 2 people tell me that if I called them at 2 o'clock in the morning and told them, hey, I got a house that needs boarded up, they would be willing to go board those houses up. But before I were to go any further than that, I wanted to get your blessing. Of course, we'd have to work out, what kind of fees we'd be looking at and materials and stuff like that. But technically, if I've got an open house somewhere in the city and a kid goes in there and gets hurt, we're liable. Right now, we don't have any of that.
I would make a recommendation that you find out the costs and that kind of stuff per window or whatever you have to do on an individual basis to get some kind of a estimate together for us to be able to determine that cost.
In the interim, you'd use your monies that we've set back for demolition, because it's part of the demolition procedure. You board it up, if you can't get to it right away, you board it up prior to demo it, so.
Comes out of the unsafe building fund.
fund for that.
Right.
That's one of them.
Yeah.
One of them.
You don't want to turn it into a party house.
That's what it is. I've already been told.
Well, we've given them enough.
If they've been, if we've condemned the home, if we condemned this home,
We've not condemned them yet. These are the two houses here that we've been
Oh, sure, Mark.
waiting until after we get back from Huntington
okay.
to figure out where we're going.
Well, I mean, if you send a notice to demolish and they fail to do it, then the first step would be to board it up and secure it.
Just to bring everybody up to speed, last Wednesday, was it, Thursday? Wednesday. Bill Carbach, Tim, and I went to Huntington and met with Mayor Fetters, Shad Paul, Kurt's equal, and their associate city attorney, and the other guy was their director of development and redevelopment, I think, yeah. And they have taken down over 100 homes through the state unsafe building law. And what they really focused on initially was the main corridors. Like this is, Shermire's not exactly a main corridor. They focused on, if it was Decatur, I would say the Monroe Streets, the Second Streets, the Adams Streets, the main corridors that have homes on them, just because those are the ones that get heavily traveled by out-of-town people, but locals. And it wasn't so much tearing down homes on those particular streets, but it was getting them brought up to code and being very, very firm about it. And they did. They got, a lot of people that, they're still not the fanciest looking houses on some of their main corridors, but they got them up to code. And then they went around and they continued on and went to homes like this, and like I said, they've taken down over 100 houses, and they shared with us their process that they use, which is very similar to what we did at Cottonwood, only without the use of a special attorney, and probably wouldn't have to have a hearing. He said very rarely do any of the people ever challenge you. So it was a good little visit we had. Tim, you want to?
No, the takeaway that I had from that was probably the most helpful was they kind of have a protocol, a policy or procedure that they follow, and it's almost a checklist. So you start here and you just work your way all the way down. So I think it's very helpful to follow that, because what it does is two things. One, it avoids you from overlooking a step in the process that you need to take. But the second thing it does is if you have to go to court to enforce it at some point, you've built your case and it's pretty solid.
Right, that's the only thing about boarding them up. I mean, you gotta be...
Yeah, you gotta follow the process.
Are you pretty much following the same process as they've been initiating?
Yes, and the process they've spelled out for us, my 11-year-old son can follow this.
That's what I say. It was very helpful in that sense.
Shermire Street, though, how many years has it been sitting up there waiting?
Too long. And the one you can't walk into. It's just, there's nothing there to walk on.
What step in the process are you on now at that home?
We need to do title searches.
Yeah.
Once we get, the two houses on Shermire, the previous owner's dead.
Is that the other one?
No heirs that we can find.
Yeah,
The other house.
This is outdated, because this house has tarps all over the roof and holes
This
in
one
it.
here is owned by LLC that's never been registered in Indiana, out of Wyoming. And
Defunct in Wyoming.
Wyoming, they have went out of business. But we still need to do title searches to make sure that, we don't go in and doze his house over and all of a sudden somebody's heir or family member shows up and says, "Where's my house?"
Yep. So we'll start the process of doing title search.
Okay. One of them is.
I told those people in Huntington they're living my dream.
He did.
This is what I wanted to do for years.
Shad.
Shad is the first vice president of Indiana Association of Building Officials, which is who I belong to for this area. Once a month I have to go to Columbia City for 3-hour meetings. So,
They were all really on top of it, all hands.
That's another reason for those kind of meetings.
Huntington has a department.
this is
It's
where
called
I get all
the
my state information.
Development and Redevelopment
Good, keep
Department.
going.
And it is a department
I
with
don't
a
need
staff
to tell
of
you,
people.
but-
No, you don't need to tell me.
Yeah.
These are my state contracts.
Yep. That helps for other things later too.
Okay, so you're following that procedure. What's the next step with this house?
Same thing, we gotta follow the,
Title search.
yeah. Okay, we'll move forward, Tim will move forward
You
with the
know,
title search. and-
just noticing that street, Jeremy has no sidewalks on either side of it. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Sad part is that picture's old.
But it still doesn't have sidewalk. Schermeyer's been neglected for a number of years. I was down there last year and some lady ran out of the house and stopped me. I was the dude on the police golf cart. Some lady ran out of the house and stopped me and said, "Thank you for making our neighborhood better." And my heart started pitter-patting because I thought, my God, I haven't done anything to make this better, but I guess I'm determined to do it now. I mean,
Just your presence.
I guess, I don't know.
We have given them some attention, Jeremy, we did a good bit of drainage down there on the...
Oh, yeah. No, that's true.
We have been
No,
giving them
that-
some attention.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, just like,
I sent you an email on blighted housing, you've already had that, right? From the state of Indiana on the blighted housing
Yes.
grants, and you're working with that?
I'm looking into that.
All right.
Okay,
I recently read...
so you all clear what to do, we're gonna have Dave Hirely come in?
Thank you.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
contact
You know,
Dave, we'll get him in here,
People do appreciate it.
a month from now.
All right,
And in the meanwhile, you're gonna have him try to board up the windows?
Yes.
In fact, the house at 1003
I
Schermeyer,
may go down and do it myself.
the house at 1003 Schermeyer, Donnie called me months ago when they were laying the storm water tiles down there and everything. He said, "Have you seen this house? Did you look at this house?" And I said, "I've been looking at that house for a couple years, Don." So, yeah, but he would even noticed it. So, and then I sent Kurt out to look at it too. So I'm not too opinionated. I mean, I'm...
right.
That house on County Road 200 is starting to get just a little shaky.
I was by there today.
Yeah,
We got a lot of yard ornaments.
yeah.
The guy that we already worked on once, you know,
Yeah.
that guy, he's
We don't
starting to
have-
collect again?
Yep.
We don't have an ordinance against ugliness, just
Yeah, we don't
remember
have an
that.
But
ordinance
it's
against
getting,
yard ornaments.
you know,
be one that you're gonna have to stay on.
Yeah.
Just tell.
because he's got some stuff in his driveway today. Looks like old light fixtures. You know, ballast for us. and
Like a bill.
Like...
Bill's
light
plugging his ears,
fixtures
doing
that have
good.
been stacked on a trailer.
Okay, Kurt, thanks for all your efforts.
We have a motion from Craig.
Okay, hold on, back up, go ahead, Phyllis.
We have a motion
Car's
from
gone.
Craig to have Hirely come in at the Board of Works in a month to discuss what owner can pay and have the house demoed in
It was gone
2019
today.
and board up the building.
Bill, you second that?
Board up the windows between now and then.
Bill, you second that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Phyllis.
When I retire, life just wouldn't be the same without it.
Jeremy, 2 weeks ago we opened salt bids. You wanna make a recommendation here? I think we all kinda know, but
Recommend accepting the low bid.
or on the salts, that's what you do? You don't use them all if you need be, it's the, okay.
I have a question though.
Yep.
Since our advertisement was for 300 tons, but they didn't sign their affidavit or they didn't put a bid bond in for that, for the street salt, but they weren't the lowest. But Detroit bid 200 tons at their price. Do you just go with Detroit? Or how do I notify them?
We normally do 200 ton, but not normally a big issue if you go over. They'll still give it to you at the regular cost. And then I have a buddy in New Haven that if we ever run short, he makes sure that they run out of salt.
You gonna do any beet juice?
So
Yeah,
does
okay.
Detroit actually, is that the one that has the low bid then?
Okay,
So the Detroit got the street salt, is that correct?
Yeah, it was $116 a ton, 200-ton bid.
No, Detroit was $97.49 per street.
For street salt.
and it's very high compared to last year, last couple of years.
And it's Detroit on both Sofner and Street, right? No?
No.
Is there a reason that you know of that it's high?
Midwest.
Okay.
It's the top.
They're down here and up here.
They can just charge whatever they want.
Okay, so for the record, it's going to be Detroit Salt Company for the street salt and Midwest Salt LLC for the softener salt. Okay?
What was their bid?
For the softener salt, it was $116.66 per ton. And then for the street salt, $97.49. Yeah. Okay. Jeremy, just stay right here. Tell us about, well, first thing, Phyllis, you have the document from Nick Koss that we drafted up to do the work out there.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
Was there a motion and second to approve those?
The bids.
Yeah, that was Jeremy's recommendation.
We made a motion 2 weeks ago that we would sign on whatever he decided was
Well, that was under advisory. We gave him
But we gave him the right
but
permission.
no, we have to approve what he said now.
Yeah, I think we need a motion to approve it.
Motion, we get a motion.
Second, yeah, we're fine.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. You good?
Yep.
Okay.
I guess we passed the test.
This is a document, agreement regarding demolition, removal, and disposal of all the structures at Cottonwood Estates. And you can notice as we talk about this up on the pictures there, that our crews started out there yesterday morning. Jeremy, about how many have we gotten out of there?
6.5.
6.5 trailers have been removed in 2 days.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well, does that look better?
So you did front the money.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm looking at total, if we can keep going with no breakdowns and Bun excavating or Bun trucking continues to service us like they have today, I'm looking about 13 working days we should be out of there. That's the rate,
Yeah.
rate we're going now. Our original agreement was 20 working days with him, so I think everyone will be satisfied if
And am I right, that's
if we
every,
can get out of there sooner than what I'm anticipating to help with leaf season and the colder weather coming, and he gets rid of this altogether.
and that's every trailer that's out there.
Every trailer, every outbuilding, except there's one towards the front. That's a pretty decent garage that he wants to keep. It has
Okay.
a solid roof on it. It's a block building. There's really no reason to tear it
Okay,
down.
gotcha.
And what about the one for sale, Jeremy? Just curious.
It's gone. It will be gone.
It will be gone?
Everything that's left after this Friday at 3 o'clock
Becomes his?
It's Nick's possession.
Well,
Yeah, the eviction notice did go through the court system, and everyone has until Friday at 3 p.m. to be
Nick
out.
went to court, every one of them attended the court hearing last Friday at 3 o'clock, whatever it was, whatever time it was. Met with Judge Kukulhan. Judge Kukulhan listened to everyone's side and said, you've given almost 3 months to the day. He owns this property, you need to make it. So he gave him 1 week to the exact date, the time of day, and says, you guys must be out by 3. The utilities will be shut off Friday at the end of quitting time. And if you're not out, the police will come and escort you. So, in all, there will be 41 trailers, probably, I'm estimating about 10 small structures total that will be taken off this property. We've had some inquiries about the property, but I don't know if people are actually serious or not. I only know one person that's serious. I don't know if they're getting anything worked out or not.
According to Nick, the guy's giving him a option and then put money down, kind of like the last guy.
Yeah.
we'll see.
So,
I've been dealing with him all week. We're waiting on information from the state. He's worried before he signs the contract with Nick. He's worried that because we're wiping everything out, the state's going to look at it like wiping out a house. You wipe out a house, rebuild a new one, you can't build it to the code that the old house was built. You got to build it to a new code. So that's what we're waiting on. So I've got feelers out with people down at the state. They're trying to get me information. This guy's actually stayed over the weekend until the day he wanted to go home Friday back to Chicago. So we're still waiting on the state to respond.
Jeremy, did we turn the gas off?
We can't, there's still people living there.
Oh,
So
the gas
we're
is
just working
in
around
front of Biggs there, right?
We're working around it, and I told the guys, we showed the guys where all the gas hookups are,
Good.
and we're just, a lot of the meters and stuff are gone, the majority of them, but we're physically disconnecting them from the gas main,
Good.
so if they hook it or anything, that, there's, no real danger. The previous contractor did him no justice when they went in and beat all those trailers in, because as they're cleaning up, we're finding water lines that are spraying, that have been spraying since the previous contractor was in there. There was just so much debris on them that there's no wonder why he's got a high water bill. We had come in contact with one, we caused a little bit of a leak, we took care of it right away. So there wasn't any claim on our end that we ran his bill up. But there's no wonder why he's got a $3,000 month water bill.
Well, the interior structure was leaking anyway. I mean, before...
Yeah, but if you take a half-inch line and it just runs full bore...
Oh, sure.
Under all that debris.
Exactly.
Some of it's getting away through the sewer that was knocked off in demolition from the previous contractor. There's no wonder why he came to us in the end and said, I need help, because it's cost him a tremendous amount of money.
Well, his decision not to have us continue to do it
That was
cost him
It
dearly.
cost him a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's too bad that he...
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that was his decision.
But when he
I don't
called
think he had
that
the money to-
Thursday, and then I met with him on that
really
Friday
fun stuff.
morning, and we just had a little heart-to-heart there in the parking lot, I think he realized that he was a little out of his league on this, and that's basically why he turned it over to us and said, I trust you, get it cleaned up.
Yeah, the agreement as well says that if there's money still in the escrow account when we're done, when we've paid ourselves, when we've paid all costs of disposal, we have the ability to apply what remains towards utility bills, and our water bill gets paid first, and then, it'll be prorated among the other utility companies if they're unpaid at that point.
And our utilities will be shut off Friday before we go home. We've already...
Because everybody will be out of there.
This Friday.
This Friday. So we won't, Kevin would know Monday morning after it's read what our bill
Well-
is. So
We'll cut the
one way or another, we'll just make sure that we're paid, through the process. I think we're gonna get done early. I don't know how much is on that account at this point, but we'll get the majority of it. We are set up to bill every Monday morning. Do you just want me to get it to the girls in the front?
Yep, I'll let Steph know, and then we need the tickets for disposal,
Correct.
and who we pay
I
there.
won't have the disposal tickets, may or may not on a weekly basis, depending on how quick Bun can get me those. I have the tickets, I just don't have the cost on them.
Well, we'll pay the city
You'll pay whatever claims you
weekly
have.
when you,
Correct.
whatever claims you have, we'll pay.
Okay. Now, one question, and I've been working it out through our lunch breaks and the best we can, is we talked about doing this a month or better ago when it was still daylight at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sending those guys down there after dark or before daybreak due to safety concerns. So we're a little short on the 8 hours, or we were yesterday. We're making it up. Do we just want to prorate it, or do you want me to make it up this week through lunches, I can go down there while the guys are at lunch, or Donnie can go down there with me, or somebody to make up the little extra time throughout the week, so we're putting the 40 hours in like we talked about.
If we're beating the clock in terms of what we projected it would take, and we're going to get out of there sooner, I would think that we're probably all right. But to the
Okay.
extent that we'd be as close to that as we can, we should be.
We'll probably be 3 or 4 hours short of it per week,
I'd just go ahead and do it.
if we don't make it up, so.
If you and Donnie are
Then
comfortable
we'll
with
just prorate it or however, so. We're getting it worked out. I went down a little bit this afternoon to give the guys a break a little bit.
Yeah, if they get behind or need a break, you and Don go down and take over for them, and
I tore one down for them today so they can just get out and walk around and get a little blood moving again.
that's
If you
good.
guys are comfortable with it, I'd stay right with it.
Okay.
I need to make this agreement contract a matter of record.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So that's that. And
Thanks, Jeremy. Don?
we also have the school resource officer contract that's kind of been finalized. There's still a couple of little details that we just have to verbally work out with Mr. Lehman, but both Brent Lehman and I have signed the contract for the school resource officer. Now that our 2 candidates graduated from the academy, we are up to we are staffed enough that we're able to put Officer Bussey out at the school full-time now. So he is now, beginning October 8th, he started reporting out there full-time. So I need to make the document with the school a matter of record. If there's any questions, we will bill the school twice a year in June and December. Am I right, Lenny? Yeah, Lenny will bill the school twice a year, June and December. They are going to pay 70% of Officer Bussey's full salary, including all the insurance, medical, dental, perf, Medicare, everything. So,
I'll make a motion.
Second, yeah.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Already heard positive things about a full-time resource officer.
It's needed, trust me. Just to listen to Lenny and Trent, it's pretty amazing. Only other thing I have on the Board of Works agenda is just to, actually, I guess, to discuss, and then maybe we already did, are we going to have a meeting on election evening, November, what is it, 6th?
Monday?
Or move it to Monday or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Council members? Yeah, we're not involved ourselves, but county and state this time.
I'm,
Doesn't matter to me, I can meet on Tuesday.
I'm fine if we want to meet for Monday.
Matt, is it, I mean, your father's involved, is it?
I prefer Monday, but if it's a third, I'm fine Tuesday. We used to do it because Mark,
Hi.
chairman, and really helped her out quite a bit.
Is it doesn't matter to you?
I'll be in Denver.
Either way?
On
probably.
Monday.
On Monday.
Tuesday, I'm heading back, and hopefully I can be here by 6, so that's my schedule, whatever.
Keep it Tuesday.
If it's all the same with everybody else, we'll just keep it Tuesday. Speak now or, okay, so we will meet on November 6th, I think it is, yeah, Tuesday, the 6th.
Short.
And that's all I have for the Board of Works.
Can I ask a question then?
Yeah.
For Jeremy again. On 2nd Street here, on the taps, are we gonna, when do those get fixed? Next year? Like,
No, probably in the next few weeks.
they are gonna be fixed, okay?
Before the parade, put it that way.
Okay. Good, thank you.
And that probably won't be the permanent fix, because when we do streetscaping, it'll be, yeah, it'll be,
With the rain, it's just a lot of the rock got washed
yeah,
out.
sure. Anything else, Board of Works? If not,
Yep.
look for a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.